All right, so we're gonna go in depth as far as maintaining your system, and as far as what filters are present and how often we should be changing them. So the first stop in this system is a 10-inch carbon filter. Comes pre-installed, and now this traps any loose sediments and various solids to prevent any unnecessary sediments or minerals to get into your RO housing that would cause any clogs in the future. So mainly, this is your first step in protecting your RO housings. So this filter will be the filter you change the most frequently. Now, if you find that you're in more of an urban setting and using a lot of city water, now city water contains chloramines. Now, chloramines are present in city water, and that is a treatment used with chlorine for better purification in that aspect. However, chloramines will damage your RO membranes, cause burning in the wraps. So if you find that you're in more of an urban setting, I recommend using a chloramine filter as opposed to a carbon filter as the first stop. The manual states that the carbon filter is changed every 3 months or 2,000 gallons. However, I recommend that you change your carbon filter the second you notice it's getting dirty, the second you notice any change of flow, it should be time to change your filter. It's going to be more frequent than everything else. It's better to change your carbon filter than spending 3 times as much to replace your RO membranes due to lack of filter changes. So keep up with your carbon filter change. So next we have 2 RO membranes, which are reverse osmosis filters. And pretty much these are filters that are wrapped, made of fiberglass, and they are semi-permeable, meaning water is going to flow through the film. It's going to permeate and pressurize and force pure water through the center. The pure water will exit through the housings, fed through the teeny hose here to the inlet of the DI, versus the wastewater that is forced back pressure out through the waistline. Typically, an RO membrane will last you about a year's worth of usage, depending on your usage conditions, depending on your source, how hard your water is, and obviously how often you're keeping up with your pre-filter changes. To change your RO membranes, it will require the removal of these top caps here. Well, we'll go into more specifics of the removal of the caps momentarily. In the black housing, you have a 10-inch DI cartridge. Now, DI is deionization. It is filled with resin. Now, resin basically takes the ions of the water and separates them, separates anything that is unnecessary. But the last stage of filtration, it's taking out the last bit that the RO housings have not taken out. RO housings will remove 90 to 99% of contaminants from the water, but the resin is really capping everything off and getting the last little bit, whatever's in the water, to then result in pure water with 0 TDS. You'll want to change your resin filter when you start noticing that the TDS out of your system is about 10 ppm. Now, ppm stands for parts per million. That is how much mineral and sediments floating around in the water. That's the unit of measurement. TDS is total dissolved solids. You'll want 0 TDS out of your system. However, you can clean windows up to 10 ppm. The second you start seeing 10 ppm out of your TDS meter, you'll want to change your resin. Now, the resin cartridge, the filled cartridge, your system comes with a cartridge filled, tightly packed with resin. Now, this one has been saturated. In the top of the housing, you'll notice there is a black O-ring gasket. This gasket will face upward in the housing when installed and replaced. It's important to use a little bit of magic lube to lubricate the gasket to create a better seal. So when installing the cartridge into the housing, you want to ensure that it reaches the bottom hole and sets in nicely. And then when twisting into the housing, go slowly. It is a loose cartridge. As you can see, it can move around here. It's important that this gasket makes a great seal with the top end of the cap. So you'll slowly tighten your cartridge into its housing cap, and boom, you're ready to go. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the removal of the RO caps and proper installation of your RO membranes.